Thanks, you guys. Here we go. So this is Alosha right here, and he is going to. Oh, Milton raised his hand. Well, Milton, we'll show this video, and then if we still have a little bit of time to chat and whatnot, we'll go ahead and walk through that. So let's see here.
Proud to say we're finally moving into our own home. After 3 months of construction, we're able to build this wonderful 19-foot tall dwelling.
This video I'm recording in the beginning of September, and only in April all that you see behind me did not exist. This was all barren, empty piece of land. It has been an empowering experience constructing it with my own hands. Today, I'd love to inspire you with my story that started just 5.5 months ago, whilst the snow was still falling. It is hard to believe, but at the age of 42, I'm finally going to be moving into my own proper size home that I didn't have to take any loan from the bank for. In the first 2 years after I have relocated from South Africa to Russia, I would wake up with a heart palpitating in pure panic attacks, really scared of being kicked out of my own home, because that's what I was living like in South Africa whilst I was paying to the bank for 12.5 years. Up until that point, the fear is almost constantly chasing after you. It's like a living entity, like an egregor or a living entity that's like and that's what's happened after living for a quarter of a century in a capitalistic world. Although I had a really nice business and I felt like I was, doing really well, in reality, I felt like I was homeless already then, because 3 months overdue on the payment and you get kicked out without further ado. The capitalistic system is so hard, trying to pay off debt. It's a constant rat race. And finally, I'm out of this and I can just enjoy myself without having this fear of being kicked out onto the streets. And you see it happening left, right, and center and in the capitalistic world. But here, besides the point that you can get a house for $500 out in nature, with garden and everything and 2 hectares of land. But even here, close by to St. Petersburg, we purchased an incredible piece of land and built our own home very affordably, without much investment, really on a shoestring budget. Out of of the 5 months, I was building only for 3 of them, and now that the outer skin is closed and the roof is insulated, we're about to put in the insulation on the front and back walls. Sure, there's still a bit of finishing touches, but it is warm inside. Running the water and electrical can all be done whilst we're living in our home. We're also renting a flat nearby so that we can still wash ourselves. For those of you who like the details, here is how we turned $5,000 worth of materials into this wonderful abode. In March, I got a shipping container and got an excavator to prepare a driveway. In 2 days, an excavator piled up and leveled a sand slab to raise the future home from the wet ground. The sand we got from our own land as well, which saved us from purchasing 30 truckloads. Just a reality check. In our country, 1.5 truckloads of sand equals 1 full day of a large excavator rental with an operator. In April, we got a curvy hyper adobe walls build, manufactured the arched beams, connected them into the roof trusses, and placed them on the walls. I know wood is costly in some countries, and hence at our upcoming course I will be sharing how throwaway plywood can be used to construct these same trusses. In May, we covered the arches in timber, installed the 4-inch insulation, and covered the roof with metal sheeting. Once again, the throwaway polystyrene can be chopped up and mixed with aircrete to create lightweight bricks for insulation. In June, I scavenged for second-hand glazing and installed all the windows. Purchasing them second-hand allowed me to save a few $1,000s as I got them 5 to 10 times cheaper than new ones. For example, these 2 new triangles cost me $500, and these 2 slightly smaller second-hand ones cost me only $50. All second-hand windows came in double, triple glazed, especially for the northern climate. In July, I got all the underground piping installed, such as fresh geothermally preheated incoming air, fresh water inlet and sewer, as well as the grey water outlets. Once the pipes were installed, we poured the floor slab. I did the first coat myself and got a professional to do the second coat.
Hello, I'm in.
All right, you guys. I think yeah, we got Alosha in here. So Alosha, can you share your video?
Yeah, it says I'm not allowed to share my video.
Yeah, let me see what I can do here. So weird.
Okay, there we go.
There you are.
Sorry about that. This daylight saving. I mean, they removed it in our country for this very reason that it causes a mess.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. That's what I realized all of a sudden when we had daylight savings. I was like, oh no, and we're doing an event this week and it's the worst time to do it, but that's all right. All good. Thank you so much for making it on here and adjusting with the schedule and everything. And sorry that Zoom was also giving you a little bit of troubles, but we're actually showing the video that you got there and kind of giving people a little background on what you've done. But yeah, super excited to hear what you have to say. You got like 15 minutes to rock and roll, and if you want to have more time, we could possibly fit you in a little bit later. But I know it's already kind of late over there for you. So
15 minutes.
yeah, like 15 minutes now.
One five.
Yep, correct. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So look, I could quickly, fly through my little presentation,
Okay.
if that's okay, and then I'd love to share with the folk of, just that I've moved around quite a bit, and maybe you can see through this presentation. Can you see it now?
Yep. We can see it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna fly through it. So very inspired by Earthships, started developing my own Earthships using sacred geometry, but obviously, trying to develop like some of these things are built, and I'll show you some photos. But very inspired by, obviously studied in America at Cal Earth, developing this. I'll get into it, but I'm a bit of an artist also. Studied with Jeff Lawton, permaculture inventor. But again, I stand on the shoulders of other giants. Like there's a food growing machine, like an American concept called the Garden Tower. So very much inspired by lots of American things, believe it or not. And biomimicry, that's my previous business, doing decor. So the curves are like been with me for a long time. I'm a doer, so there's concepts and obviously photos. Then started drawing little homes, back in 2010, with on paper, just some sketches. You can take note of these two things on the left here. Then that was my first move. I moved out of Johannesburg onto a farm. Like Johannesburg, South Africa, had enough, and I started building my own permaculture school. And then I think, not I think, I was a bit of an ass to the laborers, and I think two of the laborers came and robbed us. I think it was them. I'm 100% sure they came and attacked my wife and my son whilst I was building this home, and that resulted in me moving back to the city in 2012. Uh, but yeah, so that was a donkey boiler that I was building in a Cal Earth type of home, and I went and studied with Mike Reynolds um, uh, in Africa when he came, and I went to San Miguel, studied ferrocement, built a seashell. When I came back to South Africa, in my garden. Then, sorry, I'm going back to the farm. That's the farm. Beautiful piece of land, sunny slope. That was my permaculture experimentation, 7 hectares. But as I said, like, it doesn't matter where you live. You can just mess it up if you have like traumas that are haunting you. And I'll be more specific. The burning sensation inside your heart chakra. Yeah. So, you can be doing all these great things, but, as I said, I was mistreating the laborers, wasn't speaking to them nicely. And then they came with a knife and a hammer. Then I moved back to the city, and in my plot in Johannesburg, which was loaned, mortgaged from the bank, I was building all these amazing things. Picture on the right bottom is Nepal workshop, again using aircrete, obviously from Dome Guy and Cal Earth bags, and traveling and building, designing. Designing and building has been my thing, and experimenting through my decor business. That's a Pacific Dome dome. They came over and taught us. Very inspired by the Earthship. Sorry, this slide shouldn't be here. I've actually let me fast track through it. It's at the end of the presentation. So another design, making models. Obviously, all of these are buried up until this line. Yeah, so it's much inspired by the Earthship. You guys all know Earthships quite well. Planning the pipes. Basically, my concept is, we don't have as much sun. But here's a little cool model. We don't have sun here, and Earthship is not going to work the way it works because it's overcast, and it's very dark. Northern Europe, very, very dark. It's not like Canada even. Canada is sunny. But anyway, so that's my take on Earthships, and I'll tell you I'll show you what I've done. So we started building it. That's another farm I moved on, abandoned farm. And there, after a year and a half of living there and building this we started building this, my version of the Earthship. you know, yeah, we had our two dogs poisoned, killed, actually, not even poisoned, just killed. And eventually I just went almost a little crazy of living out there alone on a farm with my wife. But, you know, all my life I've been running away from the city, feeling that if you run away from the city, and then you'll be happy out in nature. And I guess what I'm trying to share with you through all these moves is that you know, it doesn't make you happy. It's like the demons actually come harder, because if you're in the city, you can go to a pub, you can go dancing, you can do a bit of you know, whatever, you know, chill with friends. Here on the land, it's you, your inner voice, and if you have a partner, great. So obviously, if you experimenting with marijuana and alcohol, you know, you can numb all those emotions down. But if you're not, then all that stuff really comes up harder to you, and you start shaking, literally shaking. Your legs start shaking, then heart palpitations, you know, anxiety. That's in Brazil. Sorry, I'm jumping a bit all over, but you know, I want to show you what I do, and I want to show you, I want to share some messages with you. So that's in Brazil. We build a little unit of mine. It's another one of those workshops with hyper Adobe. So you can see the curves, the shower we made here, the you know, it's a design. So geodesic dome was going to be here up in the front, yeah, an aircrete egg. So then I moved to Russia, and I'm obviously now developing something for cold climes. So the trick that I'm doing here is, instead of dumping all the heat out of the greenhouse, I want to passively channel it into the berm, insulated berm, like John Haidt, Passive Home. Maybe some of you read the book. And through this solar pipe, which is like a reflector on the back and polycarbonate on the front, and an 18-foot black pipe, 1 foot diameter, I'm hoping, and this is what I'm going to be building a prototype this year, that it will create enough suction to pull all that hot air from the top of the greenhouse out through the berm and out into the atmosphere. So that's the trick, and I'm obviously looking at the sun angles. You know, I've completed the Earthship Academy. It's got quite a complex set of pipes, which we're going to do ourselves. That plastic roll, I was, you know, one of the pictures there is a plastic sleeve. We're going to make our own channels that we're going to spray with a hopper gun. So there's a lot of research that's going into this. I'm self-financing all my builds. Unfortunately, I don't have in this presentation, but I've got a Gothic arch tiny house, which will be actually on your site. So maybe you guys can check that out. By your purchasing, you're actually supporting this research that I'm doing. Carl Earth, amazing opportunity. Not, obviously not my pictures, but amazing. What I love about this, if you saw the ferrocement, it's all these mesh and you know, layers of rebar and you know, just complex. This is so nice and simple, elegant. One layer of mesh, spaces, and 4-inch roof. You pour it onto this formwork. You remove the formwork, and you can make these rooms. And obviously, that don't have to be a rectangular. I'm experimenting with. As you can see, a bit of trapezoid forms, and you can do, you know, interesting shapes, and you know what I'm saying. So they don't have to be. Another guy I'm very inspired about is Philip Block. He's got a Rhino Vault plugin for the Grasshopper, which is part of Rhino 3D, which I teach. Not the Grasshopper, but Rhino 3D. I've got a course on how I draw these things, you know, like a bioarchitecture drawing course. So he's got this amazing way. That's his picture on top right. Dry stacked, cut in America, very precise, moved over to Europe and stacked together as one shape. You know, on a formwork, the formwork gets removed and there's no glue in between. So strength through geometry. These guys are using augmented reality. I'll share all of this on my Telegram channel, which I'll share with you. Bio_architecture. Bio_architecture. So that's the Telegram channel. Very excited about using augmented reality, not obviously in constructing the benches, because that we can do with Hyper Adobe, but more for the construction of these complex vaults with fast setting gypsum mortar. Yeah, very thin bricks. Gustavino, Raffaello Gustavino, two bottom pictures built, if I might be lying, you know, over 200 structures in America. You guys know some of these structures. Amazing technology, but now obviously it's moving towards something a bit more interesting with 3D printing. So Super Adobe is very similar to 3D printing. The printing head in inverted commas is 1 foot by an inch, let's say. Sorry, 1 foot, 30 centimeters by 10 centimeters high. A printer head is 3 centimeters by 1 centimeter high. It's additive technology. It's very similar. So what we can build with Super Adobe, we can also build with 3D printing. Some of the teachers, imagine we can add rainbows into our. So I'm trying to create a temple home. This is basically my life's work, and I'll get to it. I know I've got 5 minutes. So Chinese greenhouse. It'll all come together at the end of the presentation. Chinese greenhouse, you can grow food without heat all year round. Earthships, you guys know. This is my ecosystem that I built in South Africa. So the whole thing for curves is not just because they're pretty and I want to be weird. They're really, really strong. This wall, I'll show you just now, stopped a river in flood that flooded my whole garden. And that's an ecosystem. I turned my pool into drinking water, chlorine pool. So that's really worked out. With these terraces, I was able to raise my soil by 3 feet just with cardboard and grass clippings. So that's because if you just throw cardboard and grass clippings on the ground, they're going to fly away. But you need to have some form of a barrier for them to, like a vessel. So that's the wall that stopped the river and flood, and you can keep all your permaculture waste in these pockets. Obviously, it's quite a mission to build it, but could be a nice project with friends. A whole community on 120 hectares, I think 250 acres, with Earthship Hotel here. All the roads are on contour line. Here's 1 acre plots, 70 families, a conference center, bar architecture school where I would teach permaculture, festival grounds, little domes to hire. So it's more like a business model, 2 schools for kids. It's a vision. It's a vision, now I'm working on a tropical pool for cold climate with natural water. So all these things I've shown you, now I need to put together into a cohesive system. And this is one of the recent drawings. This is exactly what I'm working on right now. It's my version of my latest Earthship with a compost heater, because it's been proven that if you either cook compost, you get the same amount of heat if you burn the wood. But burning the wood, you get the ash, and cooking the compost, you get cubic meters of compost. So this is like a pool area. It's not yet finished, but obviously inspired by some more American things and Earthships once more. But creating a jungle that's a bit closed from outside world, which, the air is getting worse and there's electromagnetic radiation. Sorry, there's a slide. So obviously the Earthship is a big driving force. I haven't, Eden project, and that's my artwork. I was in the midst of doing this presentation. So I guess that's that. And I've got a blueprint for the tiny home. I guess I'll show you just one slide, but or you can just head over to to tinyhouse.com website, and I want to maybe leave 2 minutes just for any questions, or maybe yeah. Anyone? In the chat. Okay, cool. So I guess we've got 2 minutes, so I can show you a slide for my tiny house that I'm developing. But yeah, glad that I've inspired you. So yeah, the blueprint is basically here it is. It basically allows you to build this little tiny home that is 500 square foot, but it's on a 200 square foot foundation. It's like a little hack you used with a net, and yeah, using a net halfway through, and you can see a picture here. That's one of the pages, so it's not a complete thing, obviously, but that's the level of my blueprint with all the details, and yeah. But anyway, I don't want to run late. Sorry, I came in a little late. it's all good. Yeah, I have a couple of courses, so you guys can check it out, and also reached out to Jason, Francis, and Zach, Francis, and yeah, they'll send you my way.
Yeah, I'm just
Thank
dropping
you.
the link there. Thank you so much for your time, and I'm so sorry again for
No,
the
it's all good. I apologize. I apologize. I really had it an hour before my telephone buzzed and said, okay, it's in an hour.
okay.
And
Yeah,
I'm
no,
posting a link now, okay, into my about architecture Telegram channel and my site.
perfect. Okay, yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, because I think, people have so many questions about that unique build style that you're doing, and just, it's so different than kind of what we're used to, which means that they have a lot of different questions. I think it's probably more questions than they were, attempting to accomplish within this short period of time and whatnot. But super cool presentation. I mean, you've done literally so many different builds like that, which is really unique because a lot of people who've done like an Earthship, maybe they've done like one of them or something, but it looks like you've done a good handful of them, been part of quite a few different projects that's doing it. So really, really cool. And I love your new, I don't know exactly what you call it. It's not the A-frame, but the one that you're showing, we were showing the video of it earlier that, it kind of goes up like that. I don't know entirely. It's kind of like a round A-frame type of a thing. That's a
Yeah.
crazy design, but like super, super effective. So love that.
Well, the blueprint will be available on your site. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, definitely. Yeah, so if you guys are looking for how he built that, definitely check it out. We'll send that out too after the event and everything and all that good stuff. But yeah, thank you
thank you
so
so
much.
much. All
Yeah,
the
we really,
best.
really appreciate it. All right, we'll
Okay,
talk to you
cool.
later.
Bye.